Okay, so we're still working on Lennox model number SL280UH130V 60D-03. Okay, now we're gonna talk about flame sensor. I had a video for emergency when you have no heat. I made a short one so homeowners can survive somehow. Now we're gonna talk a little bit more details about the flame sensor. So flame sensor, as I explained earlier, it's inside the box here. I'm gonna open it one more time and show you more details about it. Okay, hello again. So the flame sensor is here, as I was telling you earlier. The flame sensor doesn't have a lot of, there's no a lot of diagnosis. If you guys have any technicians, if you're watching me, you want to add something, you want to correct me, we are welcome, and I appreciate it if you can come. So basically, this model in particular has a box. You have to remove the cover, and then the flame sensor is here. That's how you remove it, and you get a new one if you have a new one. Now also, don't forget, if I forget to tell you, don't forget, you have to make sure the power is off, either from the box here. There's a switch usually on top somewhere. If not, you have to go to circuit breaker. There's a circuit breaker. You have to turn it off. Now, sometimes it is not marked. So what you need to do to find which circuit breaker belongs to the furnace is turn the fan on your thermostat. If you turn this fan on and thermostat, the blower will come on. If you want to do it the old-fashioned way, you're gonna turn one circuit breaker at a time, and of course make sure you're not having any sophisticated program running. You're gonna mess it up, and then you're gonna turn off one by one, and then as soon as you switch the circuit breaker off and the fan stop, you know the circuit breaker belongs to the furnace, so you can mark furnace. And then when you have this off, you remove this, okay? You remove it, and then when you remove it, you got a new one, you put it there. Now, how to fix it? The biggest problem with the flame sensor, people have problem, they think it's bad. Honestly, I'm doing this for 26 years. I rarely I see a bad flame sensor. Usually it's not bad. They don't go bad, very rarely. So a lot of time, in my case, I don't test it. There's a way to test it, which is I explained to you. I usually keep all kind of sensors in my truck, honestly. Usually I replace them, because you're not gonna go to a job and you just clean it and and put it back. What are you gonna charge them for? It's like these flame sensors are anywhere between $6. This can be expensive. Lennox is expensive. Could be, I would say, easily from $40 to more, maybe $80. Sometimes I see this over 100. So usually I replace it. Again, cleaning the flame sensor, honestly, in my opinion, is not very reliable. Sometimes you clean it, it might work for 6 months, maybe a year, and you're gonna have the same problem. The more you clean it, it becomes less sensitive. Again, some people, they clean it, they don't care, it's working. But again, the idea is you don't want to be gambling, when you clean it, you are gambling. Especially when you're in Canada or some really freezing places, you have family, and then 2 o'clock in the morning is gonna stop. You don't want to take a chance. So if you replace this once every 5 years or 10 years, it's only $80. Who cares? And then remember, if you call someone at 2 o'clock in the morning, they're not gonna charge you $70 to clean this and go home. They're gonna charge you minimum $300 just to say, hey. So anyway, you can clean it. I recommend to replace it. And the other thing I usually do, which is a lot of customers like it and they believe it, I usually, when this goes bad, I usually replace all the other components that are for the burner's compartment safety switches. Basically, you have the limits, main limit, pressure switch, igniter, and this. And there's another limit behind. Usually Lennox have another one. Sometimes they have one inside. I will show it later in other videos. I replace them all because if I go to your home and it's like 70 degrees and I order these, I install them for you, it's much cheaper. All of them is gonna be much cheaper than when you call me at 12 o'clock in the morning and it's like 0 outside of 10 below, because I'm gonna be very busy. I cannot just leave a huge profitable job to come to you and clean this for you at 12 o'clock in the morning for like $50. I can't do that. Nobody will do that. So if I'm not busy and I have a lot of time and I'm slow, you'll call me, I tell you, hey, change them. It's gonna be much cheaper for you, and then you're gonna be hitting like 5-6 birds in one stone, changing all these in one service call that I'm not busy. Again, a lot of people don't believe it. I have customers, they say, hey, don't change them all, just change this. But think about it like your brakes, right? If you go to a mechanic and all other brakes are good, one tire, the brake is really bad, I mean, you still can replace one pad, one set of the pads for one wheel, but this is stupid, right? You're not gonna have a perfect balanced brake. The newer one is gonna hold stronger, the other one, so change all the pads 100%. That's what I do. I used to be a mechanic when I was a teenager. So I changed all the brakes at once, and then they live much, much longer. It's gonna be more even, clutch, more even brakes. Same thing with these. You change this, and then you're waiting for another time bomb, as I wanna say. Another problem is gonna happen. Again, only when the furnace is like at least 8 years old. For your peace of mind, change them all. And again, they're not expensive. Lennox is expensive. I tell you, these parts, if I replace them, all of them, the control board, the pressure switch, and these, it might cost $200 only for material. But again, hey, you're saving 10 years of headache. Some furnaces, all these components doesn't even cost $90, honestly. And you change them, and you have no headache, because this thing is like anywhere between $6 to maybe $25. But this thing, if it's old, it might fail at any moment, and you don't want to take a chance, because any call, any emergency call, and again, remember, the thing that you need to understand, these guys, 90% of times, it will break when it's like at least like 0 outside, because that's where the furnace works longer, harder, and they're gonna fail, and you don't want to take a chance. But again, hey, I tell the customer, hey, this is what I recommend. If you want to only change this, sometimes they just want to clean it, no problem, I just clean it for you, I put it back and do what they want. But again, for me, honestly, I think it's better to replace all of them at once, and then you're gonna be eliminating at least 80% of any breakage. So you almost have a new furnace in the heating compartment, So remember, furnace is 90% heating compartment, because only the blower that is used for AC. Everything else here is furnace. So these are the main components that they break all the time. The other thing that 20% of headache you're gonna have is either the motor is gonna fail, the draft inducer assembly, or the gas valve, or the control board, or the motor. So, but these usually, they live really long time. But again, this is what I recommend. So how to test it? Usually there is a way to test it. You're gonna turn the heat on, and then you have a thermometer, I keep saying multimeter, and you use multi-voltage. I don't have it here, but at least technicians who know what I'm talking about, they know. But as a homeowner, it's gonna be a little bit complicated. For homeowner, I really, that's why I tell homeowners, don't waste your time buying a multimeter to check the thing. Just buy it and replace it. It's gonna be cheaper. Otherwise, if you wanna do the testing, you waste a lot of time, plus you have to be experienced. But in my opinion, even some furnaces, this is not even $9. So just replace it. Buy 2 of them and leave them at your home. So if you wanna test it, usually you go multi-voltage, and then you put one probe here, and you turn the system on, and then you should read. There is a certain reading. It's only in the manual of the furnace. That reading could be anywhere between 0.5 or something amp. Again, I honestly, 25 years, I never cared. I always have the flame sensors with me. Even sometimes I make a trip, but I'm always sure it's the right one. Again, flame sensor, very hardly they go bad. And other thing with if the flame sensor if the flame sensor is bad, you can check. Let me back up a little bit just so I'll tell you what the sensor does. I forgot. So the sensor, the job of the sensor is to prove for the gas valve to keep open. So for example, if the gas valve turn on and the fire comes on, this flame sensor is going to tell the control board, hey, the fire is firing, so it's not fresh gas. And the flame sensor will keep the gas valve open as long as the furnace needs to be worked. So if you have it like at 70 degrees and 64, the furnace is going to run all the time till it matches the setting and the temperature. So the flame sensor, that's the guy who keep constantly is showing the control board, hey, we are safe, keep burning. Okay, so this is how the flame sensor works. Now, the main symptoms for bad sensor or dirty sensor is when the gas valves turn on, and then the fire fires up, and then within, depends on every furnace, it could be 2 seconds or 3 seconds or 5 seconds. If the flame sensor did not sense a burned, fired gas, like a fire, it will shut the gas valve immediately. So think about it. If you have that symptoms, like the inducer motor comes on, the igniter glows, and then the gas valve open, and the fire goes on, and then not even 5 seconds it stops, you have a problem with the flame sensor. Okay, now 90% is only cleaning it, but again, I don't recommend it for a long term, just to survive. You need to replace it. Again, it's not expensive. Other thing that you can do, it will happen when this happens, you can clean it and then it's still doing the same. And then you put a brand new one, it's still doing the same. The fire comes on, 5 seconds stop. Now you have a ground problem. So you check for grounds. See, if you don't have a ground to the chassis of the furnace, the flame sensor will do the same thing. And a lot of people I have seen, they change this, and I have a customer, I know that this guy, he is an engineer, but again, he didn't understand the thing. He replaced control board, gas valve, and what it was, the ground wire was disconnected. So you have to make sure all the grounds are in the thing. And then when you connect the power to this from the box, make sure the conduit of the electric is attached to it, so you have a ground from the conduit of the house, the whole house. And sometimes also some ground can be missing. See, like this one here, it could be somewhere. So make sure the grounds are good. If you don't have a ground and it's still doing the same after the flame stop after 5 seconds, you clean it, you put a new one. If you think there is no ground, grab an extension cord and go, because sometimes could be ground missing from, even if you have like a different connection, could be like a whip, like a plastic connection. Get an extension cord, plug it into the power, before, of course, just then you bring the extension cord, you need to cut it, and you're gonna damage it, and connect the power, whatever the power is to this furnace, connect it directly to the extension cord, and then connect the ground that coming from it to the chassis. So now you can be sure that there's a ground, because a lot of time in my job, I connect all the grounds and it's still missing ground because somehow there's no ground coming from the main conduits. And then you're gonna be sure that you have a 100% ground coming from the wall and connect it to the ground wire or to the chassis. And a lot of time, when you have a healthy ground, the flame sensor will work. And again, I'm gonna tell you one more time, the flame sensor hardly ever can go bad. These are the symptoms. Other than that, sometimes people think it's a sensor, but maybe nobody will tell you this. I will have another video to show you in details the burners compartment. But inside here there are like injectors. It's like a flange where the gas goes in. Looks like a airplane wing, and the gas over there is distributed. And every flange of these small ones, they are connected somehow together. So when the ignition ignites one of these fire chute or injectors, they have a path so they can ignite each other in sequence. They take fire from each other. Sometimes that very, very tiny path is clogged with dust. So if you look at it, you can see this one you cannot see, but most other ones you can see. So when the igniter comes on, you can see the flame goes like this, it goes from that way and immediately connect to the other one and ignite the other ones. So sometimes if that very, very tiny path is clogged, sometimes it fire only 2 of these injectors. And then this one that's supposed to be shooting on the flame sensor is not gonna ignite. So the flame sensor will get the message to the control board, hey, we have a fresh gas, stop immediately. And then all what you have to do is, sometimes if you have a CO2 tank, but don't go crazy, you can just blast it and clean it. Sometimes, in some cases, I have to take the whole assembly out and I have to literally clean every injector with a wire brush, because it was only firing a couple of them. The last one here was not firing. So these are the things you need to know about the flame sensor. I'm trying to remember if there's any other thing, if you guys remember any other things, but I think these are the main issues that I have seen. Sometimes also this wire that goes to the control board that is connected here, sometimes can be loose. So you see, this is the same wire that goes to the flame sensor. It says here on it, flame sensor. I will show you in a minute when it's connected to the control board. Okay, so I think that's all what you need to know. And again, when you clean the flame sensor, again, don't go with a rough sandpaper. You need to go with something smooth. Sometimes even if you have that hand wash sponge with a green rubber thing on it, green, that one, make sure it's dry. You can clean it with it. I think that's all. Let me just show you quickly what I can show you regarding the these guys here. Okay, give me 1 second. So here, as you see, it says flame sensor. This is the wire of the flame sensor. Okay, now these are the grounds I was talking about. They are connected to the chassis here. Always make sure you have a good ground, and this is the flame sensor as you see it in here. Okay, and the inside compartment, I will have another video. I will show you how to clean these. Sometimes, as I said, they can be clogged. Okay, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the other video, other film for the other component. Thank you.